Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Shenanaguy Plays Trails of Gold Steel 2. Hopefully the final episode, but we'll see. We will see. So there's a lot of things you can do. A lot of character profiles to update in the epilogue. Most of the important story stuff though is really just in your second playthrough. There's a couple big reveals. So we'll get into these things. First off, we are going to read both editions of the Imperial Chronicle. We read that one, right? Yeah. So we got the Crossbell Times one, which would have been the one you get when you're playing Lloyd in the Geofront. So we'll read it real quick. Special issue, Crossbell's autonomy is no more. Today, on this 14th of January 1205, Henry McDowell, provisional mayor of Crossbell and acting representative of the state government, signed an agreement ceding ownership of Crossbell to the Erebonian Empire, bringing Crossbell State's 70-year history to an abrupt end. Provisional Mayor McDowell was visibly shaken and teary-eyed as he emerged from the signing. When pressed for comment, he simply stated, "I have never felt such shame," before exiting the room. Shortly afterward, Crossbell's diet also proclaimed its dissolution. The Crossbellians far and wide could be seen offering silent prayers of mourning for the country's autonomy. For its part, the Imperial government vows to protect the safety of Crossbell's people, and it has established a new government which will govern the territory from here on. Analysis. Were Erebonia's actions justified? In light of recent events, this question is likely on the lips of every Crossbell citizen. We at the Crossbell Times have attempted to chronicle the events that led us here and provide you, dear readers, with the answer. 1. Crossbell's actions. In October 1204, the then mayor of Crossbell, Dieter Croix, illegally manipulated public opinion to gain support for the establishment of the independent state of Crossbell. At the same time, in an attempt to force other nations to recognize the legitimacy of this power play, the International Bank of Crossbell froze all of its international assets. 2. The Empire's response. The Erebonian Empire strongly condemned these actions, and, insisting that Crossbell had long been Erebonian territory, mounted an armed invasion of the state. This culminated in Erebonia's attempt to fire upon Crossbell City with its railway guns. 3. Crossbell's reaction. President Dieter Croix took action, using a newly developed weapon to prevent the railway guns from damaging the city and destroying Guerrilla Fortress to also prevent them from being fired again. 4. Chaos in Crossbell. Shortly after, President Croix's legitimacy was called into question, and he was taken into custody by the police. His arrest brought the chaos in Crossbell to an end. After taking up the mayoral seat on a provisional basis, Mayor McDowell revealed to the public the truth of what had occurred and set about rebuilding the state government. At this point, however, the Erebonian Empire launched a second invasion, which ultimately led to the annexation of Crossbell. It cannot be denied that Crossbell's actions sparked the conflict with Erebonia, nor can it be questioned that our nation's forces attacked the Imperial Army. However, the Empire's response to these aggressions, including the attempted firing of their railway guns, which could have taken the lives of countless innocent civilians, cannot be considered anything less than excessive. Furthermore, Crossbell took responsibility for the arrest of its former president Dieter Croix, as well as retracted its declaration of independence. While we freely admit our nation's wrongdoings, it is very hard to argue that the Erebonian Empire's invasion, occupation, and annexation of our nation was at all justified. Doubtly so in light of the nation's attempts to put things right. The Erebonian Empire continues to insist that Crossbell was its territory from the beginning, and that their occupation was merely to protect us from the Republic of Calvard. However, given the way things have unfolded, that explanation rings hollow to many Crossbellans. Just who owns Crossbell, and how should it be run? These are the questions we will have to ask ourselves anew in the days to come. Tensions remain at Tangrim Gate. Ever since the Republic of Calvard declared Crossbell's annexation by Erebonia invalid, Tangrim Gate, situated on our eastern border, has been a hotbed of violence and political unrest. The Calvardian attempts at invasion have been repeatedly staved off by the Imperial Army's armored divisions stationed at the gate, but they show no signs of stopping. These large-scale battles have filled the hearts of the Crossbellan public with fear, but spokesmen for the Imperial Army have urged people to remain calm. The army vows to deploy its most powerful weapon, the Ashen Knight, alongside its Panzer Soldats in order to bring the conflict to a swift and decisive end. Letter from the editors, under this wintry sky. On this icy January day, we have become citizens of the Imperial territory of Crossbell. It's not a change that's come about uncontested, and it's one that's sure to cause arguments for years to come. How could it not? Our new government will change life as we know it significantly. While our nation may have lost its autonomy, as people, we are unchanged. We are still people with free will. People who think and feel for themselves. People who can envision what we want our future to be. No matter where the seat of power lies or who sits upon it, this is still our home. We will keep thinking, keep feeling, and keep dreaming of a better future, regardless of what lies in store for us. Crossbell Times editorial staff. And issue number 7, I would like to point out though, Erebonia never fired the railway guns, but I'm pretty sure Ouroboros probably interfered with all of that. We'll find out the exact details when we play the games. News flash! Congratulations on Crossbell's annexation! Lord Rufus Alberea, best known as the man who led the Erebonian forces which moved on Crossbell, became the first Governor-General of Crossbell during a ceremony held at Orcus Tower, which will henceforth be the territory's new center of government. Alberea swore to work towards a stable society and build a new government, one completely different from those that came before. His speech was met with cheering and thunderous applause. Universal rejoicing in Crossbell. There wasn't a frown to be seen in Crossbell City today, with its citizens unanimously overjoyed to be incorporated into the Erebonian Empire. It's like a dream come true, said one 23-year-old woman. Others were more reserved in their celebration, happy to join of the Empire but remorseful for Crossbell's actions. We must have caused the Erebonian people a lot of stress, lamented one self-employed man I spoke to. It seems the annexation has brought about a new era of self-awareness for the people of the newly declared territory. Working together with Erebonia, Crossbell has long prospered as a result of having one of the largest merchant cities on the continent, and its inclusion into the Empire should only grant it greater prosperity. Wasting no time after returning to his position, Chancellor Osborne announced on the same day as the annexation that he would introduce new politics to support the territory's economic growth. Governor-General Rufus Alberea looked more than happy to hear the news, and the two capped off the meeting with an enthusiastic handshake to rapturous applause. The annexation of Crossbell is bound to bring about a bright future for the people of Erebonia, and we here at the Imperial Chronicle are united in supporting its future development. Economy. I was going to say economy. Jeez. Crossbell sparks economic turnaround. Ever since the annexation of Crossbell, pretty sure that's a typo, national economic indicators have been on the rise. There are several contributing factors, of course, including Imperial Governor Karl Regnitz's announcement that Heimdall has returned to normalcy and large corporations like the Reinford Group resuming their exports, but many cite Crossbell as the turning point. Some analysis even argue that the pre-war economy has already been surpassed. Furthermore, the capital is likely to see a massive influx of tax revenue from Crossbell, which many economic analysts predict will lead to unprecedented levels of prosperity. One economic pundit commented, "With Crossbell under its wing, Erebonia's economy is likely to reach greater heights than ever before. It wouldn't be hyperbole to call Erebonia as it stands a superpower." Society. The Ashen Knight overwhelms the Republican army. Rien Schwarzer, the hero who brought the Civil War to an end, still has a few tricks up his sleeve, which he proved by single-handedly repelling the Republican army. The 18-year-old Mr. Schwarzer is a student at a prestigious military academy as well as the only person capable of piloting the cutting-edge Ashen Knight. His achievements quickly drew the eye of the armed forces, and one high-ranking army staff member even says that they are considering giving him special treatment upon graduation to hasten his path to becoming a military officer. This young man's future seems exceptionally bright, but the military's been doing what it can to keep his light hidden. Nearly all information on him and his whereabouts is classified, and interviewers with him are strictly prohibited. Politics. Special meeting of the Provincial Council. Another meeting of the Provincial Council is planned for the end of this month. Marcus, I hate that they call them Marcus. Marcus Ragnar, Marcus Higharms, and Crossbell Governor General Lord Rufus Alburea are all set to attend. The meeting would deal with the aftermath of the war and the treatment of Duke Kyand and Duke Alburea, both of whose questioning has now formally begun. The council has said that they will also issue a statement regarding the ongoing confusion in Ordis, where a splinter group of Noble Alliance forces continues to enforce its rule. Many have taken this as a sign that they may bring that situation there to an end. Life. Let's get the new year to a good start. 1204 had its share of ups and downs, but 1205 is finally here. The start of a new year is always a good chance to put the past behind us and start afresh. So here are a few tips for welcoming the new year in a positive way and looking forward to making it a good one. Number 1. Sort your belongings. This is a great opportunity to throw away all the unneeded clutter building up around you. Don't forget to get some cleaning in either. Number 2. Set at least one new goal for yourself to achieve in the year ahead. Having goals makes you feel more positive. Number 3. Be sure to give back to the people who helped you last year. Why not send them a card? That's sure to leave a positive impression. Number 4. Last but not least, be sure to get plenty of rest. Last year's civil war took an exhausting toll on all of us. So much so that a large number of people in the capital claim to have witnessed a collective hallucination. Get those thoughts out of your head and start the year off healthy by sleeping well and sleeping often. Right. So, we're going to skip, I think, most of the character addition things. Everybody's having fun in their clubs and whatnot. We might try to find Instructor Makarov, if he's around here somewheres. Oh, well, let's see what the principal has to say. Ah, if it isn't Reen Schwarzer, allow me to give you my belated congratulations on your incredible work over in Crossbell. Though it does break my heart that such a heavy burden should fall to a student such as yourself. Don't feel bad, sir. I was the one who chose to accept the Crossbell government's request, after all. Besides, it wouldn't do me any good to run away from this. The role I've been given is difficult, but I'll see it through to the end. I ended up meeting some interesting people over there too. I have no regrets. And I shall only say one more thing. I'm sure your days ahead will be full of hardships. Be sure not to lose sight of yourself as you face them. That is all the advice I can give you. Thank you, sir. Dots. Haha, General Van Dyke was my superior back when I was in the army. As such, I'm planning on granting you a bit of additional assistance. Dots? Is something wrong, Schwarzer? No, sir, not at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Principal Van Dyke knew something. But now is not the time to start asking. No, now is not the time to start asking. Eventually will be the time to start asking, but not now. Not now, indeed. We want to talk to Instructor Thomas real quick. You should be in here. Yes, sirree. What is with... It's a potted plant grown by Fee. It gives off a gentle calming aroma. Ah, how nice. Why, hello, Reen. How goes your studying? I'd be more than happy to help you if you've had any sort of trouble. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll be alright. I've got the Machias and Emma support system keeping me on the ball. If that offer extends to next year, though, I'm sure I'll be taking you up on it then. Oh, by all means! Nothing in this world makes me happier than lending a hand to a student in need. Oh, and by the way, I've pretty much finished decoding those black records you gave me. As much as it pains me, you can take them off my hands. You have? Received decoding report. There's some fascinating stuff in there if I do say so myself. Be sure to look them over if you have the time. Right. But can you also believe the academic year is so close to its end? I'd just love to see it off with a big old party, wouldn't you? I think you're onto something. I'm pretty curious about this report he just gave me. I'll have to look over it when I get back to the dorm. Yes, we will when we get back to the dorm. Indeed. Now, not too much going on out here. Got Becky and Hugo doing their normal bickering. Not much progress there. Our classmates here. I don't think... Yeah, they're doing their normal thing. I'm sure Laura's in the pool by now. About to be. Okay. Yeah, most of this stuff isn't really important things. The character notes we'll find out later anyway. So we don't really need to worry about that.
Oh.
Hey there, Rain.
Looks like someone's done with class for the day.
Yep, just got out.
Wait, is that?
Yep, Angie's brand new bike.
We started building it for you, but then we had a change of heart. I just couldn't tear you away from your current ride after you'd grown so attached.
Now I feel bad, considering I pretty much did just that to you. Your new one's got a pretty cool design, though.
Don't get too jealous. Specs are pretty much the same as yours. Well, before Angie tunes it up and adds her custom gear for distance riding, that is.
But distance riding would mean... You're planning on going off on some big journey, aren't you?
10 points to Rain. I just felt like it was time for me to go out and see the world for myself. My martial arts teacher did the same thing once, so I'm sure it'll be a valuable experience for me. The plan for now is to travel through the entirety of Zemuria.
That's not a very specific plan, and a pretty sizable journey.
You can say that again. I've no idea where she finds the energy.
Oh, really now? Your plan to visit the continent's most famous engineering factories is pretty much exactly the same thing.
You really think so?
I take it you'll be leaving Erebonia for a while too, George?
Seems that way.
First stop's the Burl and ZCF.
Always wanted to see it. After that, I got my heart set on a trip to the Epstein Foundation over in Lamont State. While I'm at it, I think it'd be nice to pay a visit to the Verne Company in Calvert, too.
Will you even be able to get into Calvert at this point?
Hey, I didn't say it'd be easy, but I think I can pull some strings. The real reason for this trip is to figure out what I can do as an engineer to help smooth over our international relations. Meeting the continent's finest engineers and discussing things with them should really help get the ball rolling on that.
You've thought that far ahead. That's really admirable. I hope you can find a way to make that happen, even though I feel kind of hypocritical saying that, as someone who participated in the war.
Don't beat yourself up over it, Reen.
You have nothing to be ashamed of. That was your only option, given the way the Chancellor set things up. Your actions actually helped us avoid an even longer, more brutal war.
But
Angie's right. You played a role that no one else could have. Just think. If things kept going the way they were going, we could have been at war with all of Crossbell. I don't even want to imagine the number of lives that would have been lost if you hadn't stepped in the way you did.
That's...
Of course, us telling you whether or not you should feel guilty doesn't matter. It all comes down to you facing your own feelings over what you did. But there's one thing we'd like you to remember as you do. You're not alone, Rain. You've got friends who understand why you did what you did.
sometimes I wonder how I was lucky enough to get such good ones. Thanks, you guys. This really helps.
Don't mention it. On a completely different note, why don't you pay Valimar a visit while you're here? We spared no expense making sure he'd be nice and cozy in there.
I think I will, but not to discredit your coziness efforts or anything, but...
Well,
Whoops.
aren't you a sweet chevalier? Maybe I'll check in on him in a bit too.
I'm sorry, my finger slipped. I'll, put a thing on the bottom, a text thing, saying what the rest of it was. Sorry. Night/Soldat storage area.
Hey, Valimar, how you holding up?
relatively comfortably. My ability to self-repair means that maintenance is not mandatory, but I expect it will increase my operating efficiency.
Glad to hear it. This is going to be our new home base for the time being, so you can get in as much maintenance as you need. I'm gonna need you a lot in the days ahead, Valimar.
I will strive to meet your expectations.
If you really listen, you can tell that his voice sounds ever more slightly human. Dots.
Something wrong?
Not as such. I thought I sensed something unusual, but it must have been my imagination.
You really are getting to be scarily human these days, you know? What was it you sensed, though? A person?
I am unsure. It may have simply been a fluctuation of the earth veins below us. Similar fluctuations are hardly abnormal.
Well, if you don't think it's anything worth worrying about, I'll try and put it out of my mind. If you sense anything strange in the future, though, let me know, okay? You can tell me... telepathically was the word, right?
Indeed. I shall use it to inform you should I sense anything is amiss.
Cool. And this is what a divine night hanger looks like. Anyway, we can't go out the other door. Oh, there is no other door other than the garage door. Okay, I thought there was. Huh. Interesting. Right. Now it's just to go to the Class 7 dorm. And end the day. Of course, after we read the Black Records. Yes, that. Oh, wait. I still need to go see Toa, don't I? I'd better go to the Student Union building. Whoops! Forgot about Toa. Oh, hey, look at that. They're having a nice little meeting. The lacrosse club, probably having heartfelt goodbyes. Toa handing over all her work to the rest of the student council should be ending today, so I'm guessing she's still here. Knock! Question mark? There's definitely someone in there, but there's no response. Oh, I know. Excuse me, I'm coming in. She's probably asleep, huh? Yep, asleep at the desk.
Yep, I knew it. No wonder she fell asleep. She must have been really busy getting everything sorted out for the spring. Makes me remember finding her like this over in the computer room. Oh, right. I probably shouldn't look too much or she'll get mad when she wakes up.
Angie, George, Crow.
Double exclamations. Exclamation.
Rain? What are you doing in my room? Wait, this is the student council room. I must have fallen asleep.
Sorry for coming in without permission. I did knock, though.
Don't worry about it. It's my fault for dozing off like this. Why do you always have to keep finding me like that? I hope you weren't looking at me while I was sleeping again.
I did try to look as little as possible.
Well, if you say so. Is something the matter? You're not looking too well.
No, I'm fine. Maybe the light streaming in through the window is making me look off color? I feel fine, really.
Come with me.
What's this all about?
I know that you're a boy and all, and I do think that you've grown a lot during your year here. No, I probably shouldn't even call you a boy anymore. You're a grown man now, but that doesn't mean you always have to stand and endure everything life throws your way, okay? If it gets too much, it's alright to sit down and let it all out. Whether you're a boy or a grown man doesn't change that. It's okay, Reen.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I promised I'd bring him back. I promised I'd make him graduate with you, but I couldn't do it.
It's okay. You did everything you could. You made sure he knew how we all felt. And you let all of us know how he really felt too. So, don't get so worked up about it. Okay?
I'm sorry. I didn't want anyone to see me like that.
Well, I guess we're even then. Not like I jump for joy every time you catch me sleeping.
Have you finished getting everything ready for the next student council now, by the way?
Yep, my days of being president are almost done. The first years taking over are really smart, though. I barely had to teach a thing in the end.
Still, it must have been hard work getting through it all. You're going on a tour of various NGOs after graduation, right?
Yep. The plan's to take a year to visit NGOs in lots of different fields. Politics, economics, engineering, medicine. After that, I'm not sure what I want to do. I'll probably join either the army or something related to the government, I suppose.
Well, I'm pretty sure they'd both love to have you. There's no chance either one would say no to you. Especially since taking a year off hasn't made them any less determined to recruit you. After all you did with commanding the Courageous, it's no wonder you're so in demand.
I don't know. I don't think I did anything special, really. Still, I feel like it'd be best in the long run for me to see the world from a variety of different perspectives. I don't know what path I'll choose, but I want to step onto it with a firm decision on how things should be. I think that's the best thing I can do for this country's future. Maybe I'm being a little overdramatic there, though.
Not at all. After how much you've done for this academy, I can only imagine how much you could do for this country. Just try not to overwork yourself, okay? We're with you all the way, but we will always worry, you know?
Thanks. Oh, I almost forgot. What was it that made you come here? I mean, I'm happy you did, but...
Oh, I'd completely forgotten too. I just came to ask if there was anything I could do to help tomorrow, seeing as it's another free day.
But you've only just come back. And besides, tomorrow's your...
That's all the more reason I want to spend tomorrow's free day the same way I spent all of the others. It wouldn't feel like our final free day is Class 7 if it were any different.
Well, if you say so. Okay. I do have a few things in mind, so I'll just drop them into your mailbox in the dorm like I always do. And thanks for offering.
Reen, somebody says. Oh, must have been Elliot. Hey guys, didn't expect to run into you. Yeah, crazy coincidence, huh? Are you heading back to the dormitory too? That was the idea. Why don't we all head back together then? Dots. It's nice seeing the flowers as they start to bloom. Yeah, I know you said earlier they'd be in full bloom in a week, but I'm thinking it'll be closer to the end of the month, personally. Just in time for the welcoming ceremony. The new students will be able to begin their academic lives here surrounded by lino flowers just as we did. How wonderful. You've all known each other since your first day here, right? That's right. Nobody else started part way through the year like you did. But back then, I never could have imagined we'd get along this well. We got off to kind of a rocky start. You're telling me. Especially Machias and Eustace. For what it's worth, I do regret the way I behaved back then. It's not exactly something I'm terribly proud of. Oh, think nothing of it. Immaturity makes fools of even the best of us at times. Thanks, Hold on. What's with that expression? You weren't exactly standing on moral high ground either. I wouldn't have as much of a reason to behave the way I did if you hadn't been looking down your nose at me. Did you not hear me say the best of us? It was hell on all of us at the time, but it's all just a fond memory now. I suppose the same could be said about your and Green's little incident at the start of the year, couldn't it? Exclamations! Just had to bring that up, didn't you? I should have seen this coming. Oh, little incidents are my favorite. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Well, don't you dare. She's the last person who needs to know. Our first day really was full of surprises. Yeah, I can't imagine too many teachers welcome their students by dropping them through a hole in the floor. Even without having to fight a gargoyle on the way out, that's a pretty memorable start to a school year. That gargoyle proved to be quite the opponent, too. I'll say, and when we finally managed to pull together and defeat it, she just casually drops in like nothing happened. It's like she was lying in wait the whole time, watching and waiting for a chance to strike. That's exactly what she was doing. Still, as exhausting and unusual as it was, that was how our class began. I'm pretty sure it's burned into all of our memories at this point. How could it not be? I have no doubt about that. Even so, I'm sure it's one of the memories that I'll cherish for decades into the future. Ah, now you got me all jealous. Now it's my turn to do something crazy and make some super memorable memories too. Don't you dare. I dread to imagine what she's thinking when she says something crazy. On a hopefully unrelated note, what are we gonna do for dinner tonight? I'd only planned on getting something over at Kirsch's, but if anyone has any better ideas, I think it may be a good idea to make something for ourselves. If we divide up the work between us, I'm sure our meal will have quite a bit of variety too. That does sound nice. My cooking skills were in danger of getting rusty too. No objections here. Well, unless anyone has what they need already, I think it's time to split up. We've probably got a lot to buy, so...
won't be necessary.
Exclamations!
Huh?
Sharon?
What reason could you possibly have for being here? The chairman gave me her permission to return to my former position as your dormitory's caretaker, which means I am here to serve you all once more. There may only be a short time left until the end of the year, but I'll make sure you want for nothing during it. I've already started preparing your evening meal, so there's no need to go out and buy anything.
Oh, well, how about that?
I'm fine with this.
We will gladly accept your offer.
Sharon's cooking's better than whatever grub we could rustle up together anyway.
How do you manage to get permission from Mother in the first place, though? Weren't you helping to rebuild the Rhineford group? I thought the company was getting so many orders in, it was struggling to keep up. Now that Master Gwyn has returned to the company, everything is back in order. He and the chairman have been speeding through one task after another since he got back. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So the former and current chairman make quite a team, I see.
Boy, I'm starving. Wouldn't mind a drink either. With the weather getting warmer, it's just about time for peak beer season. Huh? What are you guys all gathered out here for?
Double exclamations!
Oh, why are you here? It's a pleasure to see you too, Lady Sarah. I brought a bountiful supply of smoked oysters and sardines if you'd like a snack to accompany your beer. Would you like them alongside your dinner?
Damn it. Yes.
I'm surprised she can just walk around in public like this. You know, considering her affiliation.
I'm guessing there's some sort of agreement in place between Rhineford and the government to leave her alone. Though, even if there weren't, I can't imagine anything would be able to stop Sharon from doing what she wants.
Fair. I love the night sky in this game. So good.
Whew. I think I might have eaten too much. It's been so long since we last had Sharon's cooking. She hasn't lost her touch. None of it feels heavy on my stomach at all. Well, that's all my work done for the day. Maybe I should go see how everyone else is doing.
You can explore Class 7's dorms on the night before each free day. Be aware, however, that the story will progress should you return to Doreen's room. So, first thing... Decoding report. Black Records 1. The god of creation, before Septian calendar. In the beginning, there were two great gods. One boasted unrivaled courage, the other unparalleled fortitude. They descended from the heavens with their kin, and it was upon the dark land below that they first met. Calamity, their opposing natures incompatible. The two were drawn irresistibly into battle. And thus began a struggle that shook heaven and earth. The goddess and the spirits' laments were for naught. As the land quaked, the skies were torn asunder, and the gods' kin could only tremble in fear. After what seemed like an eternity, their clash came to an end. But it was an end of mutual defeat. Their power spent, the empty shells of those two celestial titans were flung into the furthest reaches of the dark land. All that remained in their wake were terrible scars on the land, their kin, and the great power. Black Records 2. The Dark Dragon, year 371, Septian calendar. 200 years after Heimdall was first founded, ruin rose on monstrous rings from the depths of the earth. Its name was Zoroagruga, the Dark Dragon. A malevolent creature of terrible power. It spread a miasma throughout the capital that turned Heimdall into a city of the dead. But the horrors did not end there. The evil dragon desecrated the corpses of the fallen, taking control of their bodies and using them to attack those who remained alive, further increasing the legions of the dead. The emperor at the time, Astorios II, was forced to flee the city with what remained of his household and citizens. Together they retreated south and established a new capital in the land of St. Arc. Through 100 years and 6 more emperors, the bane of Heimdall went unchallenged. It was the 7th, Hector I, who resolved to recapture the city. Time had proved an ally to the beast, however, and the dragon's influence had spread over the surrounding area like a plague. Undaunted, Hector I led an army of brave knights into the necropolis in an attempt to free it, but though their hearts were steadfast, their arrival was met by legions of powerful fiends, and their efforts seemed doomed to end in failure. It was then that Hector I had a fateful encounter with none other than the great Vermilion Knight, Testarossa. The knight recognized Hector I as its master, and bolstered by its immense power and countless weapons, the Emperor moved once again on the city to the decisive encounter with the Dark Dragon. The battle shook the city to its core, and at the end, the Vermilion Knight was victorious. The Scourge of Heimdall, the Dark Dragon, was defeated. However, the price of victory was steep. The corrupted blood that flowed from the dragon claimed Hector's life, and defiled even the night itself, placing a curse upon it. The noble Testarossa became the Crimson Calamity, a demon with 1,000 weapons that only reacts to the blood of the Arnor family, a destructive force on par with the Dark Dragon that, should control of it ever be lost, would threaten the world and all who live in it. It was sealed deep underground, never intended to again see the light of day. Meanwhile, a new city rose from the ashes of the old, and people once again began to gather in Heimdall. And that was when the Vermilion capital that endures to this day was first built. 3. The War of the Lions begins, year 974. In the year 947. In the year 947, Emperor Valius V passed away. His death heralded the beginning of the larger-scale civil war in Erebonian history. Valius V was a ruler with a somewhat debaucherous reputation, and is said to have had countless wives and concubines. To further complicate the matter of succession, many of those wives came from prestigious noble families. all of whom began competing for power and wanted their offspring to take the throne. Within days of Valius V's death, Crown Prince Manfred, the son of his first wife, was assassinated by an unknown party. Following the death of the Crown Prince, the fourth prince and son of the first of Emperor Valius' secondary wives, Prince Orthros, seized the capital by force. Once in control, he declared himself the new emperor and began purging all those who dared to oppose him. The coup set off a succession of counterclaims, and 3 other princes also named themselves to be the new emperor. Backed by the powerful noble families of their mothers, the competing princes ignited a bloody 5-year-long civil war, and thus the War of the Lions began. At first, the princes' armies were largely equal in terms of strength. It wasn't until Orthros, who would later come to be known as the False Emperor, revived the being that had long been sealed under the city that the balance of power shifted. The Testarossa, the legendary Vermilion Knight, now tainted by the blood of Zoro-Agruga, saw the light of day once more. With its unmatched strength under his control, Orthros decimated his greatest competition in one fell swoop, and the 5th Prince Gunnar was defeated. It seemed inevitable that the armies of the other princes would share the same fate, but it was at this pivotal point that the war took yet another surprising and sudden turn. This unexpected development came in the form of another great knight, the Palatinate Knight. The famed champion was acquired by Prince Lucius, the 6th and youngest of the feuding brothers, and with its power he was able to defeat the army of the brilliant strategist and 2nd Prince Albert. Victorious and backed by the knight's power, Prince Lucius was poised to challenge Orthros. Prince Gunnar and Albert's armies, however, were not completely wiped out, and decided to join forces with one another in order to oppose the other princes. It was thus that the war became one fought by 3 separate groups: Prince Orthros with the Vermilion Knight, Prince Lucius with the Palatinate Knight, and Princes Gunnar and Albert, who had no knight but compensated with their sheer numbers. The War of the Lions had been raging for 2 years now, and the chaos only worsened by the day. Erebonia seemed fated to fall into ruin and darkness, fitting, perhaps, for a nation that takes its name from Erebos. Number 4. Drykles takes up arms, year 949. A young man lays on a grassy plain, enjoying a nap in a peaceful setting. Before long, however, his rest was interrupted by the arrival of a second young man on horseback. The youth wore the trappings of a knight, and his expression was deathly serious. His armor bore many rents and scratches, and his left arm was bound in a bloody bandage. The first young man had not seen him in several years, but a cheerful reunion did not seem to be his purpose. "You were right after all," the second man said gravely. "At this rate, the Empire's days are numbered." At this, the first young man rose from the grass. He was none other than the 3rd prince of the Erebonian Empire, Prince Drykles. As a man with no claim to the throne due to his commoner mother and shunned by the other high-born princes, Drykles had long since left Erebonia behind, wandering from place to place and whiling away his days. 3 years prior, he had reached the land of Nord, where he had remained ever since. Though left to his own devices since childhood, his nature was noble, and he was quickly accepted by the people of Nord and lived peacefully among them. But while he had left his homeland, he had not truly abandoned it in his heart. During his wanderings, his mother had passed away, but while she lived, she had told him something that would remain with him for the rest of his days. "The blood flowing through you will not allow you to turn your back on the Empire's suffering." Prince Drykles had turned those words over in his head again and again. What could a powerless vagrant like himself truly hope to do? The knight's arrival, however, signified 2 things: that the war continued to worsen, and that Erebonia was on a certain path to ruination. His mother was probably correct. Hearing the knight's words, he decided that enough was enough. He could ignore the pain of his countrymen no longer. That knight, incidentally, was called Roland. He was a childhood friend of Drykles and his confidant. He was also the man who Drykles had left in charge of things in his place before leaving the country. Prince Drykles set about preparing to depart, but before he could finish, he was met by several of the tall knights of Nord, their cross-shaped spears in hand. They, too, were close friends of Dreikel's, and they volunteered to accompany him and Roland, fearing that the two men alone would not stand a chance. The next morning, the prince departed the village. A mere 17 men under his command, they bade farewell to the people of the settlement, and its elder wished them well. "May the winds and the goddess be with you," he blessed them. Fortune favor you all." 5. The war comes to an end, year 952. Prince Dreikel's opponents were the armies of 4th Prince Orthros and his Vermilion Knight, 6th Prince Lucius with his Palatinate Knight, and the combined forces of the remaining princes, Gunnar and Albert, who had a legion of magical golems under their control. Yet it was he, the illegitimate son of a commoner and late comer to the war, who emerged triumphant. His victory did not come without losses, however. During his return to Erebonia, Roland fell in battle. Not long after that, however, he met a woman who would change his destiny forever. That woman was none other than the daughter of Count Sandlot, who hailed from the lakeside town of Legram. Her charismatic personality and peerless skills with the lance earned her the leadership of a band of knights known as the Eisenritter and the moniker Lance Maiden. Her name was Leanne Sandlot. Prince Dreikel's and Leanne Sandlot may have come from wildly different backgrounds, but their concern for the innocent victims of the war united them in purpose to bring an end to the bloodshed, and it was those shared feelings that made them join forces. The two of them, along with the warriors of Nord, the Eisenritter, and all the other peoples in the nation whose hearts they moved, liberated one town after another, and were eventually successful in persuading even Prince Lucius, owner of the Palatinate Knight, to fight for their cause. At the same time, however, the false emperor schemed to elevate the cursed Vermilion Knight to even greater power, to godhood. And thus the Vermilion Apocalypse was created. The demonic god emerged in Heimdall alongside a monstrous castle, and vanquished the approaching armies of Albert and Gunnar in a single battle. Their end was anything but conventional, however. They were simply erased from existence. Even the Palatinate Knight could not contend with such a foe and was felled, and as it decimated all who challenged the false emperor, countless crimson spirit veins spread out from the castle, stealing the very life from the capital's citizens, as well as those in the surrounding area. Defeat seemed all but inevitable for Prince Dreikel's, the Lance Maiden, and their followers, but they refused to give up. Following the guidance of a kindly witch, they were led to a new great knight, which slumbered on the outskirts of Heimdall. After overcoming a trial, they were able to claim the Ashen Knight and its power. With it in hand, along with their many supporters in the army of Prince Lucius, they marched on the capital for the final time, eventually making their way to the castle at its center. 3 days later, on the 4th of July, year 952, the castle vanished from existence and the city was liberated. And that is the Black Records. And we'll talk to some people. Machias, what are you up to?
Hey, Machias, working hard or?
I'll stop you right there. Of course I'm hard at work. Just look at the size of this book. If I can't internalize as much of it as possible while I'm here, I'm doomed to failure from the start.
And this is one of your new textbooks? Man, Heimdall's political academies don't mess around, do they? You'll be the youngest person there, right?
Most likely. I'd normally need to have graduated from Thor's with a bit more experience under my belt to have gotten in. There are a few Thor's grads there already, though. They take some every year. And as you might imagine, the recent political upheaval has the place swarming with applicants this year. The entrance exam was hard enough on its own, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Can't say I envy you. Still, I know you're going to be just fine. You're so smart that you can handle any subject they throw at you. Growing up with your dad should give you a leg up on the politics, too.
Yeah, no pressure there. Honestly, there are times when I think diving into things head first like this is a giant mistake.
What's wrong?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just... I know we're probably going to both be really busy with our own lives come spring, but let's make time to have lunch together once in a while or something. Okay? Studying is all well and good, but even I need a change of pace every now and again.
I think that can be arranged. The train from here to Heimdall only takes a half hour. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't hang out sometimes.
Then it's a date.
We got a date with Machias.
Are you finishing up your painting, guys?
Yeah, this is my last one. I want to make sure I'm completely satisfied with it before declaring it finished.
That's understandable. You're going to keep painting once you're back at home, though, right?
Well, I don't know how much time I'll have to set aside for it, but I intend to keep working on it, bit by bit. There's growing reason for concern in Calvert to the east of the Highlands. But all in all, things are more peaceful now than they were. I should be able to focus on painting my magnum opus.
Oh, is it going to be of Nord? If anyone can make a masterpiece of the Highlands, it'd be you.
That wouldn't be such a bad idea. But actually, I was intending to paint a picture of the Academy, its students, and the courageous.
Exclamation.
I mean,
Now you're getting it. I want to capture the day we liberated the Academy. And once I've finished it, I fully intend to return to Erebonia with it in hand. What better way to forever memorialize this place as my second homeland?
man, you really are amazing. Well, if you ever need reference materials, you know who to call. I can get pictures of anything you might need and send them over. I know you're talented, but that's a lot to paint off of just your memory.
I'd appreciate that.
Nice. Good luck with that, guys. Eustace.
Something on your mind, Eustace?
For the first time in a long time, no. I'm just taking a short break. Looking over an endless sea of documents can be rather tiring on the eyes.
Oh, are those the tax reports you mentioned?
Ordinarily, this would be my father's work, but His Majesty has yet to decide his fate. Rufus hasn't so much as glanced in Berea Hard's direction since he took his new job in Crossbell either. As such, the task falls to me.
Man, I knew everyone in our class had it pretty rough right now. You've got it roughest, no contest.
If my ego had its way, I would boast that filling in for my father is a simple and mundane task. But on top of the paperwork, I'll need to manage the provincial army and oversee the province as a whole. Then there's the matter of keeping the most stubborn of the nobility in check. I don't expect the first 6 months to be pleasant.
The fact that you're already thinking 6 months ahead is pretty impressive as it is. Standing in for Duke Alberea like that must take some real confidence. I know you'll manage, though.
That much is obvious.
What is it?
It's nothing. In the days to come, more people will be relying on you than ever before. But no matter who does so or what they ask, do not lose your pride as a noble. Act independently, your head held high. Maintain your pride and your autonomy, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Thanks. I promise I will.
I'll hold you to that.
I'm sure you will. And Elliot, right? Yeah.
Hey, Elliot. Taking care of your violin?
Yeah, it's taken care of me over the past year, so why not return the favor? I'm actually planning on giving a few of them to the Academy before I go, just to make sure next year's first years have something to practice with.
That's really generous, and sure to make a lot of people happy. And you'll finally be heading off to a music academy, just like you always wanted. I bet they'll push you pretty hard over there, too.
I don't doubt it. I'm going to need to be all music all the time if I want to stand a chance at keeping up. Though, to be honest, after all the time I've spent here, I don't really want my life to be completely about music. I love it, obviously, but to be a balanced person, I want to have a bit more variety in my life, like I had here at the Academy. For one thing, I don't want to get too rusty with my orbital staff.
Good to hear. I hope everything works out for you.
Thanks. Me too. No, it's nothing. Either way, Heimdall and Trista are really close, so don't be a stranger, okay? I know you're gonna have tons of work to get through between your classes and your missions, but...
Don't worry, I'll make time. I'm sure we'll have plenty of chances to see each other. There's still a ton of Heimdall I haven't seen, too. You'll have to show me around next time I make it over there.
You bet.
Yeah. Bet I do.
Oh, there you are. You look bored, Celine.
I guess I am. My work's done at this point. I feel like I aged a few decades as soon as the war came to an end.
Come on now.
Feels a bit strange to be saying it after the fact, but you fought pretty well over in Crossbell. You've really mastered piloting Valimar.
I'd like to think so anyway. I feel like I could pull off just about anything with him now. And to think, I couldn't do half as much with him when I was first starting out.
You do realize you just admitted you were totally useless, right? I wonder if you're gonna be okay without us, you know? Valimar must have drawn the short straw to end up with a budding awakener like you.
Thanks for worrying about me all the time, Celine.
Excuse me, what makes you think I was worried about you?
Just about everything. From what I can tell, you've always worried about me. Back in the beginning, when I didn't know anything about piloting, you were always there to guide me through our battles. I doubt I would have ever come this far if you didn't have my back. So, thank you. For all of it.
Why do you always have to be like this? There are parts of the legends passed down in the clan that not even Emma and I know about. But just bear this one thing in mind. Divine Knights have incredible power, and they can become devils just as easily as they can become gods.
Don't worry, I know. And I won't forget. Anyone in my position needs to know the difference between right and wrong. I'm well aware of that.
That's fine then. Anyway, good luck, I guess. If you really need it, I can always come and help out.
Thanks, Celine. Such a nice cat.
Oh, good evening, Masterine. I thought you had already retired for the evening. How would you like for me to put together some supper?
I appreciate the offer, but I think I've eaten more than I should have as it is. Your cooking really is delicious, Sharon. I was starting to miss it after not having it for so long.
It was my pleasure to cook for all of you again, so I pulled out all the stops with this one. Seeing all of you happily indulging my handiwork always makes every second of preparation worth it. Is something the matter, Masterine?
Oh, I was just thinking about how you haven't changed a bit. I'm not sure it's my place to ask, but is everything all right over at Ouroboros? I can't help but wonder after how things turned out. Vita seems really shocked.
I'm afraid I haven't a clue. No word of what's been happening in the society has reached my ears since then. I have no idea where the second Anguis is now, nor do I know what happened regarding the Phantasmal Blaze plan after the Chancellor declared he was taking it over. And quite frankly, none of it is my concern. The answers won't change who I am, and it won't suddenly cause me to shift priorities. I am and always will be a proud maid of the Reinford family. Not because of the freedom we enforcers are granted, but because that is simply who I am. Much like how you being the Ashen Chevalier doesn't change how you are also a proud member of Class 7.
I suppose you're right.
And no matter what happens to you in the future, never lose sight of who you really are. It's almost time for me to return to Ruhr, but should you ever need me again, I will gladly rush to your side.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad you can stay here for a while longer.
Yes. And we'll talk to the girls. And yeah, that'll be it.
Something on your mind, instructor?
You could say that. I've been mulling over how things are going to be come next month, but all this soul searching's giving me a headache.
Well, it'll probably feel strange being back with the guild for the first time in 2 years, but I'd bet they'll be glad to have you back. Things are probably going to be rough over there, even with you taking up the bracer life again.
No doubts there. I can already see plenty of traveling abroad in my future after what happened over in Crossbow. And I imagine it'll keep getting harder and harder for us bracers to operate here, too. What's with that sad puppy look? There's no reason for you to feel ashamed of what you've chosen to do. I'm proud to have a student like you who can stand up and make the tough choices life thrusts on us.
Thanks, instructor. I'll try to just grin and bear it for now.
Attaboy. Sticking it out through the hard times with a smile will put you on the fast track to becoming a great man. Just make sure you don't try to shoulder too much. All that'll do is turn you into a jaded grump. Everything in moderation, okay?
Says you.
Thanks.
With the crates of
I
alcohol.
haven't joined the intelligence division, and I have no plans to. I'm gonna keep responding to their requests, but only if I'm comfortable doing what they're asking. And I can promise you, I'll never do anything that would put me in conflict with the guild or put innocents' lives at risk. I don't know what the future will bring for me, but that's the creed I want to stand by.
I know. Don't worry. No matter what happens, you'll always be my student. So go out there, live your life, and grow into such a heartthrob that I won't be able to take my eyes off you.
Well, I'll try.
In try we may.
What's up, Milliam?
Oh, hey, Reen. It's nothing. I just feel kinda down.
Down?
Yeah. I was just thinking about how everyone was at dinner time. Sharon's food was really nice, and we all seemed like we were having a good time. But I don't know. It was weird, like we were all upset but didn't want to let it show. It's been bugging me.
Oh, so that's why. You really have grown so much these past few months, and not just mentally. I think you've gotten a little taller too.
Maybe. About 2 rage or so? Judging by my specs, I'm not gonna get much taller than this, though. I'm Mini Milliam forever and ever. But you never know. Maybe I'll grow up to have boobies so big, I can use them as a shelf like Emma's.
Question mark?
Nah, not really. So, you've got a new mission starting next month, right?
Yep, I've gotta go see how things are over out west. Duke Cayenne's been arrested, but it sounds like things are still pretty nuts over there. Oh, but guess what? I might get to go out to Laboral and Rimaferia soon.
What is it with you and blabbing classified information? Well, whatever. Just promise me you'll take care of yourself. And be sure to keep in touch. I'll always be right there when you need me, okay?
Righto, I promise. That goes double for you, mister. If you need me to bust you out of a jam, just say the word.
Let's see. Who's next? This one's Laura, right? 303? Okay.
Feeling sad about leaving the lacrosse club behind?
Yeah, I was really into it by the end. I think it'll make for some wonderful memories to look back fondly on in the years to come.
I can imagine. Does that mean you're not going to keep up with lacrosse and Ruhr?
I don't think I'll be able to. As far as I'm aware, there aren't any local teams I could join. And even if there were, I doubt I'd have the time for sports. Just thinking about how busy I'll be makes my head spin. No, scratch that. Being busy is all the more reason I need to make time for exercise.
Yeah, good luck with that. Helping out with the Rhineford group sounds like a recipe for one all-nighter after another.
Not just yet, actually. I won't be helping until Grandfather shows me the ropes. As I am now, I doubt I'll be able to do much at all in the way of rebuilding the company. But you can bet I'll leave Mother speechless with how much progress I've made in a year's time.
I'm sure you can if you put your mind to it. And I know Sharon will always be willing to help you out if you need her.
She probably would, but then she'd just tell everything she did to Mother. Don't worry about it. I was just thinking about how blessed I am. I've got a wonderful family, a great club I'm part of, all of you as my classmates.
Oh, right. It took me a long time to realize the same thing too. We really are one and the same.
Yeah.
Oh. Exclamation.
Lisa.
It's nothing, honestly. I'm just feeling a bit emotional all of a sudden. I don't know what's gotten into me. Nothing's wrong, though. I promise.
But...
Still, let's both make the most of our free day tomorrow. It's the last one we'll ever have as a class. The last thing any of us want to do is end it with regrets.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's make it a day to remember for both of us.
Yeah.
Are those seeds you got there?
Yep, Adel gave them to me. They all came from the plants we grew in the gardening club. I'm just looking at what kinds there are here.
Really? That's really nice of her. It's kind of like you can take everything you've achieved over the past year with you.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to join a club until Adel found me relaxing and invited me. But I guess it wasn't so bad.
Don't you worry. I'll be sure to check on the gardening club every once in a while just to see how things are going. It would be a shame if all the plants you've spent so long looking after were to wither and die.
It doesn't matter. Even if they do, they'll eventually bloom again somewhere else. Kind of like us.
When you put it that way, I suppose you're right. What's wrong?
Nothing. This one and this one should be okay too.
Fee gave Reen a handful of seeds.
What are these for?
They're the easiest ones to look after. You can try raising them if you want. Don't worry if they wilt or anything, though. When I've found the others from Zephyr, I'll come back and check if they're still blooming. If they are, you get a pat on the head.
Hey, I thought the head rubbing was my job, but I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah, our best shot. I don't know how good Reen is with gardening, but, you know, ours can give it a shot.
Emma? What are you doing?
Oh, hi there, Reen. Well, Dorothy and I decided that we're gonna put together one final collection of stories as a club. Since then, I've been working on a story for the students who will join the club next year.
Oh, that sounds neat. Wait, if Dorothy's involved...
Exclamation.
The content is totally appropriate for children of all ages, I assure you. Admittedly, Dorothy's own story sounds like it'll have a few of her favorite literary elements, but all in moderation, she assured.
Sure.
Not that I'm one to judge. What kind of story are you writing?
It's supposed to be a fairy tale. I can't pretend it's 100% original, though. I borrowed some elements from a story I heard as a child. It's going to star a golden unicorn and a pure-hearted maiden. Or at least, that's the plan.
Sounds interesting. Can I give it a read when you're done? I'll still be here next year, so if I see any first years who seem like they'd enjoy it, I'll recommend it to them.
I have to confess, I'm a little embarrassed to let anyone see it, but the whole point of a story is to be read.
Something wrong?
No, not at all. I'm sure you and Valimar will be just fine without my help now. Still, if you do need anything, don't hesitate to get in touch. It may take some time to contact me, though. You'll need to use a method that isn't exactly conventional.
Yeah, I could have guessed as much. I mean, I theoretically get how to use runes to communicate since you told me, but I have no idea how it actually works.
I'd be shocked if you did. It's pretty far removed from the orbital technology you're used to. It has its benefits, though. For one, you'll be able to reach me no matter where I might be, so don't ever hesitate to drop me a line if you need my assistance. I'd always be happy to hear from you.
All right, I'm sure I'll give you a ring. Or a rune, I guess. I hope you end up being able to find Vita, too.
Thank you.
And last but not least, certainly not least, definitely not least.
What are you looking at, Laura?
It's you, Reen. I'll show you.
Huh.
Oh, you and Monica got a picture taken together? You both look so happy in it, too.
That we do. Someone in the photography club kindly offered to take it for us. I thought it would make a fine souvenir of my time at the academy to take away with me.
My mirror's on that being Rex. Oh well, it's a nice photo, and he got permission. For once. I never expected you and Monica would get so close. Between her and Fee, you kind of have a knack for becoming the best of friends with the ones you bump heads with first.
Please don't say that. I'm truly grateful to both of them for broadening my horizons. Meeting them enriched my life in ways I could have never pictured before. Truly, coming to this academy was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
I didn't realize we'd made such a big impact on you.
Well, you did. And don't mind me, I'm just feeling a little emotional. This isn't like me at all now, is it? There's no harm in a few tears, I suppose. This will be my last time I can relax before my training, after all.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much rest in with the training you've got lined up.
I won't be learning the Arcade School's advanced techniques with training any less intense. I have no idea where we'll be conducting said training, but it will no doubt be as perilous as it will be dangerous.
I had to spend a month in the Isengard range as part of mine. I don't think a month's going to cut it with what you're doing, though. It goes way beyond your average techniques.
Indeed. I'm anticipating that it will take at least half a year, if not more. Father's going to be with me. But with things as difficult as they are, part of me feels guilty for taking up his time.
I don't know about that. I think him agreeing to train with you shows how much faith he has in your potential. Besides, in a lot of ways, this might be the best time to do it.
That is very true. Reen, I would still like for you to come with me on my...
Laura, We talked about this, right? The best thing for the two of us is to walk our own paths. You only get one life. You've got to make the most of it. I'd only just hold you back if I were there with you. And you shouldn't be holding yourself back for someone else's sake. None of us should.
I suppose you're right. I know that by taking on this training, I'll obtain the strength I need to cleave through the uncertain days ahead. This is something I have to do. Not only to become stronger for me, but to continue being a worthy sword for you.
Thank you, Laura.
I won't tell you not to overexert yourself, as I certainly can't promise that I won't. Still, I want you to always bear in mind that no matter what happens, no matter where I am, my heart is always with you. Please never forget that.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Ah, Laura's best girl. She really is. Oh, already talked to Milliam. I don't know if there's any event for going in Crow's room. Oh, there is. Wow.
You are all going to be in for some tough times ahead. I can't go any farther now. But you can. So keep going forward.
Crow's final words changed our path forever. No. It's more like they gave us the encouragement we needed to step onto the right one. We only get one life, and we're the only ones who can live it. Thanks, Crow. I might not be leaving the Academy to pursue some noble goal like the others are, but I'll do what I can here. Although, if I have to keep taking time off for trips like that one to Crossbell, I can kiss my attendance goodbye. Well, I can try to make it so I'll never be in danger of repeating a year. Unlike a certain someone.
And that is where we are going to end this episode. Next time, we will go on to our first free day. Probably be able to get through all the quests and everything. Probably make it into an hour-long video. Because I think for the most part it's just quests. It's just side quests to do. So, until then, I will see you all in that video. Goodbye for now.